This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Skip Money.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Good Neighbor Podcast of the Tri-Cities in Western North Carolina. So today I am thrilled to have a very special guest with us in the studio for the first time, and I'm very excited to learn all about them and their church. And I think you'll be just as excited as I am, because today I have the pleasure of introducing your good neighbor, Father Ken Saunders, who is the pastor at St. James Episcopal Church in Greenville. Father, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Skip. Good to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you. And like I said, very excited to learn all about you and St. James Episcopal and what you guys do. So if you don't mind, why don't you kick us off by telling us about your church?
Thank you. The church is in the name. St. James Episcopal Church has been a presence in Greenville since 1850. Actually, before that, 1842, when a small group of Episcopalians started worshiping at the courthouse here in downtown Greenville. And they got a land gift from Dixon Williams Mansion, and they decided to build a church in the corner of their garden. So we're located right behind the General Morgan Inn, which is a historic inn here in Greenville. We were actually here before the General Morgan was. So,
wow,
it's been a long time. We're considered one of the oldest church edifices in the state of Tennessee. So it's a pretty neat place.
Wow.
We've been a worshiping presence here since 1850, since 175 years.
Wow, that's incredible. Now, is the building the same building?
The building is the same. We're part of the National Register of Historic Places. The inside of the church, the worship space and all, has changed a little bit over time with liturgical renewal and all, but it is not, we still have the original floors. The original structure is intact. We just did a refurb on the outside of the building in 2022, where we painted and restored some old boards and such, but it's the clapboard siding that was existent in 1850.
And forgive my memory here, but I'm a fan of history. Didn't General Morgan hide out under the church or something?
That's the lore. The lore, as it was passed down to me, was that General Morgan and his troops were billeted at the Dixon Williams Mansion, and they got word from scouts that the Union troops were coming after him, and he escaped and came, and as far as I've been told, he got underneath the church, and the Union troops drug him out in the middle of the garden and assassinated him.
Wow.
But yeah, that's just, we're a victim of location. Then it's not a matter of during the Civil War, we were a chapel of ease for both sides, both Northern and Southern armies.
Wow. Well, I know there's
both. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
We've got record of both Union and Confederate troops using the church as a chapel as they were passing through.
Wow. Well, I know every time I pass that church, I live near Greenville, and every time I pass your church, I look, because there's a big sign that says, General Morgan was shot here, and I look to see, where did he get under the church or how? Because now you have a
back before before the underskirt was walled in, it was up on piers, so it was probably easily accessible up underneath. There was at one time the only heating in the space was a coal furnace, but of course that's been redone. Wow.
And you're right across the street from the Cannonball Church, right?
I am. Cumberland Presbyterian is right across the street. Yep.
Very good. And there's a Cannonball. Maybe not the original one, but it's lodged in the wall.
There's some lore behind that too, but
Yep, there is. I've heard that. Well, anyway, tell us about your journey, Father Saunders. How did you get started in the ministry?
My personal journey, I went to high school in Southern Virginia and ended up down at the Citadel in Charleston, South Carolina. And fell out my junior year and I was a nuclear technician for Westinghouse for several years. And then that job folded, and I ended up building houses for about 12 years after that. And since my call to ministry in the context of all that, and when I was in Western Carolina running a housing development business, it was a construction business in Western Carolina, I discerned a call to ministry with the context of the church and went to seminary at the University of the South and was ordained in 2007.
Wow. You've done a little bit of everything, sounds like.
Sometimes I feel like it. You know what they say is a jack of all trades and master of none, right?
Yes, sir. I'm totally familiar with that myself. So can you tell us about any myths or misconceptions that you hear about your church or about the church in general?
Well, I think one of the major misconceptions, the Episcopal Church, I think overall is the best kept secret, because we don't get out on the streets and browbeat anybody into faith, like some of our brothers and sister denominations do. The Episcopal Church offers a very inclusive way in, and we have beautiful liturgy and great hymnody, and sometimes a good traditional setting with participatory worship and authenticity that can't be found in other churches. We're a Reformed Catholic tradition, so hence the funny clothes and the stuff that I wear and the way I'm addressed. So it's really it's really a great reverent expression of faith that I think is lacking in some other churches.
I would agree. Well, and being a pastor is a full-time job, and I guess you're on call 24/7.
It's tough in this day and age, that's for sure.
Oh my gosh. Well, if there is any time away, if you get to go on a sabbatical or anything like that, what do you like to do for fun?
It's funny that you just mentioned that. I just came back off of a sabbatical. I spent 3 months, June, July, and August, traveling the country on my motorcycle.
Nice.
I ride, and that's the way I unwind and spend some time in my head and process. So in prayer and on the road, I went, and it was terribly enjoyable.
Wonderful. So you're a motorcycle guy too.
I am.
Awesome. I would, looking at you, wouldn't say that. But
I don't have the leathers on, and I shaved my beard when I got back. So there you go.
There you go. So let's see. I was going to ask if you could describe either personally or professionally with the church a hardship or a life challenge that you faced and were able to overcome that and come out stronger on the other side. Does anything come to mind?
I can give I guess, fairly recent example. The pandemic in 2020 issued a lot of challenges for the church and just people in general, dealing with both spiritual, mental, and physical health overall. And I think that as a church, we had to evaluate what was the most important. How we continued to worship in the style that we are accustomed, as well as staying connected as a community of faith. So we embraced technology as much as we could in a manner that we were comfortable with, and a little bit at a time we grew into doing that. And then when we came out of the pandemic and we were able to regather safely and things calmed down a bit, we felt ourselves emerging on the other side a much stronger community, much more connected, both with God and with each other. So it was an amazing feeling coming out of that. And we've been able to do some incredible stuff since then. Of course, I mentioned the refurbishing of the building, and most of our building, the exterior has been redone, and we did the interior of our parish hall spaces, which are common spaces. But we've also re-engaged those soup kitchen ministry, and we've helped with local relief efforts during the hurricane, and just some other things that we're back active in the community in ways that we weren't as deeply involved before.
Wonderful. You're doing a lot of great things, and we really appreciate that. coming out of a horrible situation. So if you could think of one thing, Father Saunders, Father Ken, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
If you could think of, if you could think of one thing that you would like our listeners and viewers to remember about you and about St. James Episcopal Church, what would that be?
Well, if they're looking for a community grounded in good biblical apostolic worship. When I mean apostolic, means we carry the creeds of the apostolic fathers, and we are a tradition of faith where we embrace both scripture, reason, and tradition. Over the years, again, we're Reformed Catholic faith, but if they're looking for authentic worship on Sunday morning that's grounded in biblical scholarship and reason and good teaching and beautiful worship with great hymns, then they need to come see us at St. James.
All right. Very good. Well, if any of our listeners, viewers are churchless, I don't know if that's a word, but don't have a church home.
Churchless is definitely a word.
It's definitely a word, churchless.
Churchless. They can find us online. We're at www.stjamesgreenville with the extra e.org, stjamesgreenville.org. It's a pretty extensive website. We have past service recordings. We've been recording and live streaming our services since I'd say March of 2020. And so you can find most services there online. So if you're interested in checking out a service before you come and seeing how the worship is and how it may differ from the style that you may be expecting or used to, you can check it out there. There's statements of belief all over our website, what we believe in, what we do. But most importantly, we worship Jesus as the incarnation of God.
Wonderful. Well, so a lot of different ways to connect. Love that you live stream so that we can go and see a past sermon before we come visit. But you heard it here, guys. The St. James Episcopal Church, very welcoming, and in downtown Greenville, across right behind the General Morgan Inn. Father Saunders, Father Ken, can't tell you how much I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to tell us all about you and your ministry and the church and the history of the church. Number one, we appreciate what you're doing and bringing people to Jesus Christ, and very thankful for that. Thank you for all that you do, and I hope that moving forward, we wish you and St. James Episcopal Church and your congregation, your family, all the best.
Thank you. Best to you too.
And we'd love to have you back sometime.
Thanks. Love to be back.
All right. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnptri-cities.com. That's gnptri-cities.com or call 423-719-5873.